I see that 30-minute bar like 3 ago, the one that actually kind of finished positive.
The
Nice
one that got
hammer
me,
there that
yes.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, yeah.
That's what got you in, right?
That's what got me in. Yeah, I
Nice.
was actually in slightly before that pump. And then I thought to myself, oh yeah, we're sitting pretty here. And then it just like, meow, meow, meow. And now we're basically being tortured by copper because it's not behaving. But we'll squeeze out something here. So we'll see.
I
Not the
have a
ideal
Well,
formal
trade,
I'm gonna
obviously.
request. I have a formal request.
uh, gonna just kind
I
of go over where the
need
markets are for everybody right now.
yes.
S&P is up near the highs of the session, just looking above the initial balance high for the fourth time today. 62.53 and a quarter last. Crude oil right in the middle of the range. House, by the way, is still short that those 5 micros from 50 65.76 approximately. Flat and gold holding right near the session lows, 33.51 even, currently last. And the Nasdaq, kind of funny, the S&P is up near the IB high. Nasdaq just bounced back lower off the IB low. Uh, Correlation traders probably having a hard time with that today, but the Nasdaq currently trading 22,720 approximately. Um,
Have we
so
seen
we were
YM
talking to the
today?
I know. I
yeah, it
was
went
just going to
crazy,
bring
didn't
that
it?
up. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
dislocated.
Because
yeah,
I didn't even look at it because I
lot
was
of
like, yeah,
divergence.
equities are quiet. And then I was like, oh, what's YM doing? Because I was on my live stream just before this, and I looked at it and I was like,
Yeah,
who
it's
who
crazy.
gave it a line
Oh
of coke? What happened?
Yeah, I think we're seeing a flight to safety simply
Maybe,
because
yeah.
if you look at the heat maps for what's going on, we've got tons of flow into consumer staples. All everything out of tech slipping off the rails, and
uh,
everything floating into consumer staples today. I think we have some kind of
that was the
rotation, flight to safety.
safety
That
du
could be a
jour.
sign of that could be a sign of recession as well, right? Let's hope not.
I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe people are nervous about maybe the jobs number. And I was just saying to
And
someone, have you guys ever had a day with a holiday where the NYSE closes at 1 p.m. Eastern, and just before that, we have the biggest slurry of economic data that is going to be released, and then the market closes? I I have not seen that in many. I can't even remember a time that I've seen a day like that. Do you?
No, it's like all the stars are
no,
aligning for
no.
something wacky to happen on Thursday, right?
Feels like it.
Yeah, I was really shocked because usually if it's a holiday, they move NFP to a Monday.
Exactly.
I was shocked because I was
Exactly.
looking at the calendar yesterday because it was Monday, so we were doing like analysis, and I didn't really do much trading. Um, I ended up like 418 up on the day. It was fine, but not too much happening. And then I thought to myself, oh, let's see where NFP is going to happen because obviously it's holiday, so I'm expecting to see Monday, and then I see it on a Thursday. I was like, what? This is
And
so odd.
the NYSE closes at 1
Yeah,
Eastern.
Hmm.
yeah,
Order filled.
yeah,
It's bizarre. Let me get my tinfoil hat out and I will start telling
yeah.
us why.
Can I join you?
Yeah, I think something's weird right there for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. But my formal
It's
request is in the sounds. I need to have Deanna do that that she does so I can plug it in
for
for when my trade goes bad. I need
yeah, when
that.
you
When the
get
stop
your
loss gets
stops hit.
hit and goes, wow, wow,
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow. Yeah.
yeah. When I
need it.
recorded all those, I did a fourth one for stop hit, and it was wah wah wah.
I like it.
They
They
should
didn't
have put
use
that
that one.
in. Ah, hey.
So, well, we are talking about the holiday and the fact that that it is like on a before a day shortened session before a holiday, the Independence Day holiday here in the U.S. We were talking about um, sideways trading, and in the S&Ps, we're certainly seeing that sideways trading. And Anne Marie, you wanted to talk a little bit about how to trade sideways trading, and to me, it's when you're expecting it, you let the extremes of the session establish themselves, and you work those extremes. What do you think?
Oh, exactly. Exactly. And so the question really is, well, how do I know it's going to be a sideways day? And we don't know until we know, but the day before and the range of the day before sort of gives you a heads up. So yesterday we had all of this sideways space. So let me
Mm-hmm.
remove all the drawings and all the indicators.
Drawings.
Drawings, right? So if I just look at a
Boring.
15-minute chart just from yesterday, we can see that what we
Order
had
filled.
is, except for the crazy wick towards the end, we had this box. It gapped up and it held. And so my brain immediately sees that box. I try to look at my charts every day without any indicators on it to see if anything about price jumps out at me. And then I add my indicators back because they'll help me sort of pace my way through the day. But the sideways motion of the day, and then the first thing I stare down is, where's my VWAP? Come on, friend. There we go.
Flat.
First thing, yeah, I looked at it and I went, well, that's essentially flat. Now, some of us, when we're trading, we have this mindset of, oh, wait, it's trending up. Oh, no, it's trending down. Oh, no, it's trending up. Oh, no, it's trending down. That's flat. If
That's
you
range
are
day.
looking,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're looking at a chart and half of the candles are above the VWAP and half of the candles are below the VWAP, you're sideways. And so my thought was, I'm going to wait for the spikes, short it, tight risk. I'm going to wait for the dips, tight risk. And I'm using, the range from the prior day. So I'd like to short up here. But again, my super trend is telling me, probably ought to wait for a hot minute,
Mm,
let things confirm. It's hard
hey,
to trade sideways, but
yeah.
Adobe does it well, and we can really see, particularly with these markers, because here's the great thing about the super trend marker: it prints way in advance, and
Hmm.
it doesn't change relative to time. How many of us have looked at a chart in hindsight and gone, oh my gosh, the moving average was going straight up. Why did I short? Except your moving average wasn't going straight up when you did that. It curve fitted the rest of the candlesticks as price moved
Mm-hmm.
forward. And a lot of us realize, especially you and Dee, realize that price action is much more important to pace out than, say, the slope of a particular moving average, particularly if you look at it in hindsight, because you're not going to get the same data.
Is there
Agree,
is it
disagree?
agree? I was going to ask D if there's any particular trick or tool that she uses. D, is there any kind of a tool or trick that you look at to decide if a day is going to be range bound and where you're going to be patient, wait for the extremes, and look for your opportunities
We
there?
have a we yeah, we have a couple of things to look at in the profile, right? So we have the initial
Yeah.
balance, so we're extending to both sides or just one side. And I know people love to trade the open and whatever, but when you're gonna have a range day, Chat, you've heard Hogue say it so many times. We're opening in balance. Better locations are going to probably come in later in the day. So when we
Mm,
open outside of the value area, like we did on copper today, there's always a chance of this extended jump back down to value. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change the fact that we extended the initial balance to both sides. So if you do get that mean reversion, it can actually be
uh-huh.
pretty violent. But to me, the initial balance and whether we're extending both sides or just one side, also the size of initial balance, those two have been pretty good for me to determine whether I should maybe switch gears to range bound trading or not. And then it's down to trade locations. One of the things that I'm not that happy about with range days is that you have to be so precise and you have to wait
Yes.
in
Hmm.
excellent trade locations. It requires
Agonizing.
the highest, yeah, the highest amount of patience. And if somebody is fairly new, like they've been trading for a couple of years, they're probably not going to have that kind of patience. Another thing could be spiky candles. You can look at a 30-minute chart, and if they're all just having spikes on both sides, but you have a pretty decent range, it's probably a range bound
Order
trade.
filled.
Only once it leaves and sustains the price outside of that range, maybe you can look at a breakout. But whenever I see spikes anywhere, I'm just like, oh God, now I have to wait. Nobody likes to wait, right? We all want to get our trade right then and there. But yeah, that's why I don't like range days personally, because I find them just painful, painful. But if we have a big range like this one on copper, that's fine, because you have so much space. You don't have to be that pedantic, and you can have a margin of error to like 35 to 50 ticks. But if it's a tight range, oh my God, like you pretty much have to put on your Dolby hat and try and aim for the session highs and session lows.
I used to love range days. I called them cash register days
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
because you
love
get
them
the
too.
extremes. You
I
can
love
find
them.
cheap trades if you're patient, like D says. You find the cheap trades. You play those extremes until they just don't work anymore. It's range bound to breakout rules, and used to have some wonderful days. Seeing some continuation here, perhaps in the S and P's. Just put in a double top. We may see S and P's pushing above that IB high. See if we can get some range extension on that. One of the things that I'm noticing in the markets today is we're a little short on likes, folks. Everybody hit the like button. We have two rock stars here. So hit the like button for D, hit the like button for Anne Marie. Um, Holiday trading, sideways trading. Yes, J55. These are the days that test the trader, of course. So, uh, D, what do they do in London for Independence Day? Is it a no, it's probably not a big celebration. Are you guys missing us or what?
I, I don't think that English people are that big on Independence Day, considering that you guys separated from us on Independence. Yeah, so they don't do anything. It's not a holiday. So it's a great question, though. I love it. But yeah, it's just a normal day. So we're gonna go ahead with a regular Euro trade because LSE and LME are still open as normal, and hopefully we get some moves. I don't know how much movement because we also have the NFP, but yeah, we'll be there with bells on, as they like to say here.
Mm, awesome. Henry, what are your plans? Are you gonna go to a display, go to the pool, have a margarita? What are you doing?
You know, sleep is always my first go to because I'm very sleep deprived during the week. Very, very sleep deprived. So we actually had our 4th of July celebration this past weekend. We had the kids in. We were down at the pool and did the all the things that Americans eat, and yeah, it
Hot
was fun.
dogs,
So
hamburgers,
hamburgers and
baseball, and Chevrolets.
all of those were somewhere around for
I wonder if
sure.
anybody remembers that commercial.
That is a pretty old commercial. It's from the 80s,
Is it
isn't it?
what was it? Baseball, hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet. That was it. That was it. That was it. Um, so well, I got to tell you, I, my wife is hopping on a plane tomorrow and going on an Alaskan cruise with one of her girlfriends for 8 days. She's leaving tomorrow.
Wow.
Oh,
Party at
so when she's
Hope's house?
yeah, so when she's not there, do you? I mean, we're not trying to drop the dime on you or anything here, but when she's not around, what do you do that's different? Do you sleep in? Do you wear the bedroom slippers more? Do you turn on
Mm,
the TV extra loud? What
no,
happens?
nothing in particular. Nothing in particular. I'll pretty much the same routine. I'll probably do a little more reading. I want to pick up my guitar again. I haven't done that in
Oh,
quite a long time.
nice,
Got to get my pads going again.
nice.
But her birthday is on Thursday, July 3rd.
Oh,
She's a lucky
tell her we
girl. She
said happy
always gets the
birthday.
day after her birthday
I
off.
know.
But I'm going to be missing her. She's going to send some pictures. Maybe we'll get to see some of those beautiful pictures
It's,
from up in
it
Alaska.
is beautiful.
That'd be
It's,
lovely.
it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
beautiful up there. It's so beautiful. You
Yeah.
go up there in the summer,
Miguel's
you know
asking.
exactly why people live there. It's for the summer months. It totally is.
Yeah,
Gee, your trade's looking great. It's really
Yeah.
starting to
I mean,
lift.
this
that
is,
is.
yeah, it's starting. It's just, it needs to get over 510. Otherwise, it's just going to have
Yeah,
a
it's a nice
ceiling there.
reversal down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really pretty.
You got the
What was
Dakota
your
Freeway
risk on the
reversal
trade?
on the
Sorry.
five and
Yeah.
everything. Go ahead, Amory.
Yeah.
What was the risk? What's the current risk on this one? I know you don't move your risk. So what
Yeah.
is the
It's
risk on this trade?
437 and 50 cents. So about
Yeah, that's fair.
430 bucks. Yeah. Because copper is expensive. It's 1250 now. Like,
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming that the regular trading hour session has closed for copper.
Fun. Yeah.
12:30 like
Mm-hmm.
gold, right?
Yep. That's it.
Now you're starting to see your turnaround.
I know
It's been
that's
happening
textbook,
recently.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. It used to happen somewhere around sort of half an hour before settlement. But then in the last sort of 2 months, across the board, it's not just copper, it's natural gas, it's everything. They kind of wait until that either euro close or settlement, and then they start turning it around. And I'm like, what are you waiting for? Why? But yeah, it's just a change that we have to make a note of and to say, okay, well, that's new behavior. I have to adapt. And,
How
you
long's it
know,
been happening?
I about 2 3 months now. All the
Okay.
basically all this year. Yeah. I
Interesting.
don't know why. It's a bit weird. We do have the LME that closes 10 minutes after Euro close. So sometimes we might see that movement after what's that, 10:30 a.m. Central. And then you see like in the next 10 minutes there's like more movement in copper as a result. But no, recently it's just like if it's directional, it's just directional. And then it settles and then they start moving it. And I've seen, like I said, I've seen days where it just goes for 70 to 100 ticks over the next 2 hours. Almost
Huh.
like
Wow.
the most painful mean reversion ever.
Oh,
Just
Interesting.
to
they're doing
shake
it just to
everybody
test
out.
your patience.
Yes. There we go.
Yeah,
There we
yeah.
go.
Luckily, I
Does
don't. I when I'm in these sorts of trades, I don't sit there and watch them. I always say to people, if you're gonna try this sort of trading, find a hobby, because you're gonna lose your mind just staring at
yeah,
it, tick
for
to
sure.
tick. So I go cook, I go sometimes walk the dogs. Keep one eye on it, but I'm not actually actively looking at it. And by the time I'm done with all of that, I come back and I'm like, oh, there's a target. Awesome.
Does
And somehow this is
LME
starting to look like that. Yeah,
does LME mean London Metals Exchange?
yeah, that's right. And
Okay.
it is actually the largest metal exchange in the world. So a lot of the volume for gold, copper, and a whole bunch of weird metals like nickel, aluminium, They trade a whole bunch of stuff in 5 minute increments, but they start really late. They're not like LSCE, London Stock Exchange starts trading at 8 a.m. over here, and it's all like, all right, let's trade Eurex products, let's trade FTSE currencies, and then you get the LME that starts trading at like 11:40 a.m. So they just leisurely stroll in and they're like, right, let's do some trading. It's a really odd exchange, kind of typical London fashion, just not really panicking. It's one big
Interesting.
ring. I don't know whether I've actually had the pleasure to go and see it. And I couldn't believe what was happening because there was only probably about 9 or 10 people in the actual ring. Nobody
Uh-huh.
else is allowed in the ring apart from the brokers and the traders. And then they were all sitting down. So when the trading started, all I'm seeing is like an elderly lady in like, red coat. And she's just sitting down and going, so I asked, I was
Like
like,
an
so when
auction,
is the
like a
trading
real auction.
starting? Well, yeah, like a real auction. And I said, when is the trading actually going to start? And they said, no, 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 this is it. I was, I was expecting like the exchanges
Bizarre.
we saw in Chicago, everybody kind of pushing and shoving and, no, it was super civilized. I'm like, okay, this is the weirdest style
Huh.
of trading ever. So yeah, very English, very proper. And
Yes,
nobody's
very.
allowed to shout. Nobody's allowed to say a word, nothing. So it's all just like signs, signals, and you give your order, the broker comes, and
Wow.
off they go. It's like, yeah, it's nothing like what you guys have seen. Even me, I was like, what is
We're
this happening?
savages over here, is what she's saying, Hope.
Like a parallel universe.
Twilight Zone.
Oh,
Boy, I don't know if the trading floors in Chicago were ever that quiet. I mean, even before the market or after the market, you used to hear all the time clocks clicking, just constant clicking of time clocks because everything had to be time stamped. How long ago was
you
that,
mean
D?
the cards?
That was in 2014, I want to say, but it hasn't changed much. I think for a while it was closed, but they kind of reopened it, then they closed it again. I think they're open again. I don't know why they keep doing that. So I thought the open outcry metals trading was done. And then I looked it up like just the other day and I'm like, oh, they're still open.
Hmm.
And I swear they closed down the doors, said no more, no, no more metal exchange. It seems to still be happening. So we still have the ring session in the morning, ring session in the afternoon, and it works in like 2 sessions. So you get metals trading in 5 minute increments for separate metals. Then everything gets traded at the end of each session for like 10 minutes. And then they have a lunch break. And then they come back and do it all over again. So in the time when they're trading everything, that's called curb trading. Because back in the day, they were doing their trading in like pubs, so they did
Yeah,
used to get a bit rowdy, and then the pub owners would kick the traders out on the curb, which is
on the
sidewalk
curb.
over there. Yeah, so it was called curb trading because they were like continue shouting and doing stuff. So it was a little bit more rowdy, but then they opened the London Metal Exchange and everything was just like super civil.
Yeah, they used to do that at the Board of Trade too. Is just like trade with each other at the bar and turn in the cards.
Yeah,
But there was curb
yeah,
trading in Chicago as well because the Board of Trade actually started on a street corner. They would stand on the curb,
yeah,
and that's where open outcry
yeah.
started in Chicago before they had any real space to
Wow.
do it.
And they used to come with carts and stuff. Is that right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Well, there was
Like
there was
way
always a
back in the day.
there was always sampling of product. If you were buying or
Hmm.
selling corn, you'd want to see it. You'd want to bring some so people could see it. But the delivery
Right,
dates may not be for 6 months into the future. So, and I remember being on the Board of Trade floor with my dad, and there were samples of corn and soybeans and wheat and oats,
right.
and they were always
I've
just
seen
hey,
pictures of
this
that.
is what the corn looks like in Iowa right now. It's
Yeah, I've
kind
seen
of crazy. We
pictures
used
of
to go
that.
up on the 44th floor and you could step outside onto a railing and throw corn and
Did
try
you
and
have
hit
a
cabs.
did you like have a little nibble as well?
No, no,
Taste the good?
it was
It's
it was
dried
like,
corn, right?
was feed corn, yeah. So it
Yeah, it's
wasn't.
dried corn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, one more round here. 62, 58 and a quarter. S&P is continuing to push highs. Nasdaq still struggling at an IB low. Last is 22,740. Uh, crude oil. We're still short that
I
thing
know.
from
It looks
deep
good.
short this morning. Starting to rotate lower here. 65.49, 65.48, and gold but for all intents and purposes closed for the regular trading hour sessions. Still hanging relatively close to the lows here, 33.52.30. I always feel so blessed when I have the opportunity to hang out with both of you. You're wonderful people, wonderful traders. I've learned a
You're so
lot from
kind to
both of
us,
you.
Doug.
I think we have a mutual admiration society when it comes to that, and I appreciate both of you very much. Um, Dee, what do you want to tell your former colonies before the holiday here?
Enjoy your holiday. Celebrate. Eat well. Be with your family. That's what holidays are for. And yeah, I hope everybody has a very good rest. Don't mess it up into the NFP. Maybe is the bigger one for the traders. But yeah, spend time with your loved ones, eat good food, and get lots of sleep and some booze.
Yeah, you want to get all biffed up before the holiday, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anne Marie, any closing comments?
You know what? I couldn't have said it any better than Dee. And of course, I can speak for both of us saying that it's always a joy to be on with you. You're so kind to us, always so encouraging. You are just a lovely person to have in a personal circle. And we are very happy that it's you with us today.
You are too kind, both of you,
Not even.
and blessings and love to you both. Blessings and love to
No,
you both. So
you're the kindest
we,
person that I know.
oh,
I think
you're
so too.
you
I
guys,
do.
you're too
I
kind.
think so too.
Very rare to find,
Yes.
especially in this
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah. I know.
Can't tell you what that's cost me.
I bet.
You'd have
Yeah.
your own giant boat somewhere on the Riviera, and then we wouldn't know you. And so,
All right, awesome. Well, we're going to be moving on to Back to the Futures. It's going to be a three-man weave this time. Andre, Gabe, and Dolby are coming up next. Thank you again, Anne Marie and Deanna. You are too kind. Nothing but love. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great rest of the week. I'm going to be in and out, I think, a little bit for the rest of the week. Got to take my wife to the airport tomorrow morning, but I think I'm going to be on with Robin Dane tomorrow, which will be always a
nice.
pleasure to
Be a
have
great
her on.
segment. Yeah,
Oh
She is
yeah.
the boss, man. She is the
special.
boss. But blessings, everyone. Hey, stick around. Back to the Future's coming up. Andre, Gabe, Dolby, three-man weave. This is Top Step TV. Lots more tradertainment to come. Let's go.
Click like, click like, click like, click subscribe. This is Top Step TV.
Oh, yes. It is back to the future's little three-man weave top step style. The man in the middle, Gabe, talking about biting on the trade already.
Order
To
filled.
the right, you got Dolby Time.
Order
as
filled.
Well, let's get right into it. Gabe, what are you looking at doing? Biting on something.
I'm looking at a little bit of a premature short here. Looking
Okay.
at a premature short. I'm actually I'm in one short one NQ 740. Essentially looking at a potential failed breakout. Possible lower high. Really tight stop though. I'm gonna keep my stop around kind of mid 750s in case we do end up heading back towards creating a higher high. So this could be a pretty quick invalidation, but we'll try it. We've been, rallying, kind of just chopping, grinding higher since earlier in the morning, mid morning.
22,740. Dolby Times, good to see you. Let's do a little range breakdown. Let's do a little range breakdown in the NQ. Last trade, 22,742. What are we seeing?
Yeah. Let's go big time. Let's go to the weekly. Let me remove everything off this main chart. So weekly, definitely looking at 22,871. It's not necessarily a part of the range, but it was the last sort of like really big high, and we did reject above it. Getting down to the daily, I think we are starting to see the very beginnings of a daily range. The low of that would be 22,000, let's say 600. It's also going to make a reappearance on the 4-hour chart. I'll do daily range high of 22,000, let's say 937. I think the 4-hour range is probably the most interesting because that's where we bounced this morning. So we will double label one of those lines.
4-hour.
And really, really nice range today in that 4-hour chart. Let's get even smaller. I am looking. I think we're kind of good on the ranges. Like I think it's the really really big ones that we're kind of looking at today. But I think what is most interesting now is that if I drop to the 4-hour, find the midpoint of that 4-hour range.
Order filled.
2,766, which is pretty much the middle of the range, and we're pretty much almost there. So it's kind of in a pickle right now, Dre. Because as a range trader, I would love to find some trades, but we've already extended the lows, tested the highs, and now we're back in the middle. So